In this video, I'm going to be detailing and weathering this Graham Farish Class 66. Stick around and I'll show you what I do. Good afternoon everyone and welcome back to Piccadilly. Now you might remember I picked this model up a few weeks ago now, if not more than a month or so. And it's just sat in its box and not done anything. And the main reason for that is because I hadn't had a decoder. And I was just searching through the boxes like you do to try and find things for other projects, and I stumbled across a 6-pin decoder. Now, it was one of the old Gauge Master ones, and I thought, oh, it's not going to work anymore. And I thought I'll put it on that testing unit I got even further back then, a few weeks ago. And it works. I thought, the lights work, the motor turns both directions. I thought I'll give it a go and see what happens. So what I've actually done is I've fitted it into this model and it seems absolutely fine. Now, whether it will stay fine, I don't know. I'm hoping it will, but it's worth a shot, isn't it? Right, I found this picture of the end of the locomotive, and you can clearly see we've got 2 vacuum pipes there which don't appear to be in the detail bag, but what we do have is the buckeye coupling with the hook attached. That is one unit, and we've got this strange piece of metal here. I don't know what that is. If somebody does know, you know, please do let me know. It's perhaps something to do with the buckeye coupling, a tool which is just sitting on the locomotive, somewhere to put it. Don't know. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to have to make these vacuum pipes, so I'll talk about that in a bit. Now, hopefully, actually, if I put that piece of paper behind it, you might be able to see it. Don't drop it, don't drop it. The coupling hook is actually part of it. There, you might be able to see it on the right of the picture, behind the big block of the buckeye. So that's going to be glued into the centre, and obviously the air dams are going to be glued at the very end of the locomotive. There are 2 holes, and also I've got to find a way of fitting these other parts onto that. So I'm going to be using some contactor and putting a little dollop onto the paper first, not onto the locomotive, because this stuff does tend to splay or sprue everywhere. So I will get those parts fitted on and I'll come back to you in a bit. Oh my life, I have to say I've done some tricky things and fiddly things, and this is up there, it really is. The holes are not big enough. I've had to re-drill all the holes to get the parts in. Fitting the air dam, well, it just kept coming off. So I've had to glue it all the way along, which I was hoping to just to glue the pins, and I've also had to put, you can probably notice, some little bits of plastic card inside there just to support it, because it was literally just bending all over the place. But in the meantime, the air vacuum pipes, so what I've done is, if you notice on the top of that pot there are 2 pieces of wire. Now the air dam, the vacuum pipes, there's one red and one yellow, with yellow ends and red ends, and the way I've done it is to paint them white, and obviously that's a piece of electrical wire, and you cut the sheathing back to release the copper at the end, and you sort of splay the copper out ever so slightly. I've bent it over, held it at the peak of the C shape, and then dipped the 2 ends into the white paint. I'm now going to do the same with the red and the yellow, and then once that's done, I'll then glue them onto the model. Right, so there we go. So hopefully now you can see I've painted this anthracite colour over the whole of the body, and you can just about make out that it's a little bit lighter than the actual black that the metal of Farish put it in. Right, so the next stage is I am going to put a little bit of the darker colour over these areas, over the axles. The cabs on these seem to have degraded and broken up a little bit, but it's okay. Seems to be a little bit of streaking coming down from there, like that, and that sort of area. I'm just literally just going to wipe finger in that area like that. And I'm just going to darken these bits down inside the chassis area as well, because they seem to have become a bit pale. Right, welcome back. Now, as you can see, I've got the body back on now, and I'm reasonably happy with that chassis. But I think what I will do is just pale up the brown a little bit more, actually, because it does look a bit pale over the bogies, or a bit dark over the bogies. So I'm just going to go over that a little bit more, just the slightest dry brush. Literally just dab over. Well, you might be wondering what's going on here. I did say the next shot would be the 66 on the layout, and clearly, as you can see, this is the test track. So you'll also notice it's down to its bare bones. I've taken off all the bodywork and it's literally just a chassis with the coupling, with the bogies on it. Watch. I'm not touching the controller. My hand's there, and I'm holding the camera with the other hand. So it's doing that all by itself. Now this is running DC. There's the blanking plate there. So that implies that it is mechanical. The DCC chip is not in it, obviously, because some people might say it's the back EMF. But actually, I think this is the motor. I think one of the poles has died, And if I speed it up, you can hear that sort of pulsing with the motor. But if I speed it up even more, you can hear the pulsing of the motor, but otherwise the running, you wouldn't think there's anything wrong because it's able to skip over the dead zone quite easily. Now, if I stop it and go the other way, flipping on the transformer, I'm using the Gauge Master Combi, by the way, on this one, that one. Now going the other way, you can see it's doing exactly the same thing. Speed it up a bit more, look at that. Nearly forgot, managed to get a hold of this Dapol 66, and it's DC. So what's going on there then? Well, it's for a little project I've got going on, and I'll explain all in the coming weeks. You'll just have to wait. Well, there it is. Now, you probably will have noticed that it's still pulsing a little bit. I did put a new motor in it, but I think, having spoken to somebody else, somebody who's quite knowledgeable about these things, they seem to think it's something to do with the gearing. So that immediately told me it was the worm drives, because I took those apart, and I did manage to slot them back in a little bit and got it running a lot better, as you can see. But it might be just easy if I just order a couple of new worm drives and put those in and throw these old ones away, and then hopefully that should solve the problem. But yeah, I'm quite pleased with the way that's turned out, and some of you might say I've overdone it, but I must point out to you, apart from the nuln oil down the side, I've not touched the sides at all, so it's the nuln oil that's making them look a little bit more dirty. But the real Loco does have this big stain down the side, or it did, certainly on the pictures I saw anyway. And any roof dirt, apart from just general very light grime at that end, has the heavy more smoke effect at this part and at this end, and certainly over the cab as well. And the bogies and the battery boxes, well, as you can see in the video, I did do them so they've got the streaks, the diesel streaks going down the side of the tank as well. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed that video. Please do like, subscribe and share, and there will be 2 other videos appearing on your screen right now, which I'm hoping you will find very inspirational. So please do watch those to the very end, and I'll catch you again very, very soon on Piccadilly. Take care of yourself. Bye bye.